Thanks very much for checking out this episode of Turning to Him. If you enjoy what you hear, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave comments, share it with your friends, all the basic stuff. When you do things like that, it makes it easier for other people to find the channel and add goodness into their lives. Thanks again. So you hit high school or graduate high school. What comes next?
So I went to school down at UVU. I went and
The Wolverines?
Yeah, for a short bit. And that's where actually my husband came and knocked on my door, and that's how I met him.
Wait, what's that story? Was he your home teacher back in the day, or how did that happen?
He was actually just down there with some of his friends, and they had done this before, and that's a funny story too. So he knocked on my door asking for ibuprofen for his headache, and I opened the door. It was Valentine's, and I was the one home without a date, but I had gone out with my mom and dad and my grandma. So my dad took my grandma home, and my mom helped me stay and clean. That's it. And we were watching American Idol.
Okay.
And lo and behold, this handsome guy knocks on my door and asks for ibuprofen. And I'm like, I don't know if I have that. And my mom's like, do you have Motrin? Like anything? Like, hello? And I'm like, well, I do have Motrin, type thing. And so I was going, and my door was automatically closing. And so I'm like, oh, sorry. And my mom opens the door to let him in, type thing. It was just funny. And so that's kind of how we hit it off. And then a couple months later, he left on his mission. And I waited that whole time.
Has it ever come out? Did he really have a headache, or was this a thing that he did?
I think he said he really did.
Okay.
Like this time I did. And so they always just come up with things like how they could run into girls. And lo and behold, a couple weeks before this, my friends, my high school friends, my good friends, were telling me this story about these guys that came, that they met, like whatever. And so one time my husband saw these pictures of my friends, and he's like, oh, I know them. And I was like, no way. And he was telling me the story. I'm like, I know this story. I was like, you ran into my best friends before you ran into me. And so it was just so fun.
That's great.
Doing the same thing, knocking on girls' doors. So
that's a bold move. Let that be a lesson to any young men out there, young women. That's a bold move.
He's tried to get his brothers to do it, but they don't really think it's not for them, I guess. I don't know.
Sure. So when he left on his mission, were you absolutely devastated? I mean, did you have an idea of, hey, I think this might be the one? Or were you just like, oh, he was a nice guy and we'll see how it works out?
I don't know if I knew if it would be the one per se. I was definitely hopeful because of how he treated me. And, I really enjoyed being with him, and I felt really good around him. And I think I could see it working out, but I didn't want to get my hopes up if it wasn't supposed to be right. So I wasn't able to go to his farewell actually, because I was back east doing the Hill Cumorah pageant. So we had to say goodbye even earlier. And I remember being at the Hill Cumorah pageant and just being devastated. I was sitting and doing sacrament, and I knew he was speaking, and I was just like, oh, all I want to do is just ask my dad to fly me home just for those hours so that I can say goodbye, one more time. And
yes,
it was really tough to let him go, but I think it was more tough because I wasn't able to be at his farewell. But my grandma was there and held down the fort, so we were good.
Okay, so your family was represented.
Yes.
Okay. Quick sidebar for those who don't know, what is the Hill Cumorah pageant?
So they don't do it anymore.
Right.
So it was a pageant about the Book of Mormon that we went as a family, and we just basically portrayed and told the story of the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. And that is one of those instances where I really feel like the Book of Mormon came to life for me, literally, right?
Yeah.
I've always been one that loves the scriptures and reading, but the chronological side of things is always kind of I think this happened here, and I think this is here. And until that time, I could piece it all together. And it just opened my eyes to the Book of Mormon and, the grace of God and their journey, and it was pretty incredible.
And it takes place on the hill Cumorah, which, if you
Yes,
don't know, is where Joseph Smith found the plates or was guided to the plates.
correct.
Okay.
It was a great
Um,
place to be.
what an amazing experience to have as a family.
Yeah, it was
I,
really neat.
I mean, how could you not participate? How could you participate that and not have a stronger testimony of the Book of Mormon?
Yeah, I agree. We were able to go to the sacred grove and things and just seeing a bunch of families. Some people went there individually, but there were quite a few families that came and participated that we became friends with and things. So it was kind of cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so at your at the time boyfriend leaves on his mission.
Mhm.
But you finish your season at the Hill Cumorah and you come home. Do you come home to college? What do you do?
Yep. I was going to college still at UVU. Just and I was still dating guys.
Hmm.
And I told myself, I just can't sit around and wait. And if I'm here, that's even better. And so yeah, that's what I did. And 2 years passed and he came home. And yeah, we kind of hit it off and we were both hoping that it would work out. And well, I should say during that time before he came home, I was at that age where I could decide to serve a mission too. And I really prayed hard about it. And I felt like I could make the choice to go, but I also had the choice to wait and see what
Hmm.
happened when he got home. Because if I went, I knew that he probably would not be around.
Sure.
So I don't know. I felt really strongly and I just stayed around and we hit it off. He came home in July and we were married in November. So like 4 months
Okay.
he got home. So it was very quick.
Now, were you was forgive me for dating you a little bit. Were you in the period of writing letters or emailing when he was on a
He
mission?
emailed most of the time. So I would write him letters because there's nothing like a handwritten letter, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
like getting those, but most of the time we would email.
Okay, so I mean, you were getting to know each other while he was serving a mission as well.
Hmm.
You were kind of on that experience with him.
Yep. Because it was only like 5 months that I knew him before he left. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's great. Um,
Fun
okay, so
story to tell.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so then did you graduate college with a degree?
Not at that time.
Hmm.
So we got married and we decided to finish off that semester and then we headed up to Utah State in
Okay,
Logan. We felt like we'd both do a lot better there. And for some reason we needed to be up there. And we were able to grow closer to each other, being a little bit further from family. And I don't know, we just thrived up there a little bit better. And it was so, yeah,
yeah.
go Aggies.
Go Aggies. That's right.
That's where I graduated from eventually. So we had our first little girl, and that's when I decided to stay home for a little bit. So I took a break.
Mhm.
But as soon as he was graduating, we were moving down here to Salt Lake, just back with my parents for a little bit. And yeah, I just felt strongly like, well, if I'm moving in with my parents, this is my time to finish. So I kind of changed and tweaked my degree from just a full music degree. I did a music and family life degree. It was an interdisciplinary studies degree.
Yes.
So that's when I was able to graduate with my bachelor's.
Okay. Fantastic. I love that so far. A lot of the experiences that we've talked about, that to me it outlines the fact that there is a correct path for an individual, but rarely is there a universal correct path. Or I should say, the things that all of us need to do, when you think about all of the choices that you make in your life, the things that all of us need to do are pretty rare. All of us need to be baptized. All of us need to make essential covenants and eternal covenants. Beyond that, there's a lot of right choices out there to make. And I recently listened to a talk by President Eyring. Um, it may have been President Bednar, it may have been Elder Bednar. I apologize for not knowing. But he basically says a lot of times we get paralyzed by the idea of I cannot act unless the spirit tells me exactly you need to take step one, step two, step three, step four. And until I receive that answer, I'm just going to sit on my knees and I'm going to pray and I'm going to exercise faith because I'm a faith-filled person and that's how I'm going to do. And it seems like most of the time, that's not how it works. The
Hmm.
Lord says to you, you can serve a mission if you want, or you can wait if you want. That doesn't mean that it's not an important decision. It just means that there are two great solutions for you.
Correct. Yep. That's how my life has always been. And I feel like most of the time I am the one just waiting for that specific answer because I mean, that's the easy thing to do, right? It's
Right.
just like, okay, I'm waiting. Just tell me I'm here. I'm asking, I'm here. But in all reality, throughout my life, it's been like, no, you need to make the decision or you get to make the decision.
Yes.
I'm providing this to you. You have your agency. And sometimes that's really hard for me. I'm like, I am not the best decision maker here. Like, I want to know, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's
Yes.
how I feel. But he wants me to be able to exercise my agency. And sometimes that's not so easy for me, but I'm so grateful for it anyway, because once I take a step and learn, you know, I don't know, blessings come. And I can't do that unless, I make that choice and then I'm like, oh, now he can bless me. So
Yeah. You said it one way and then you corrected yourself. And I feel the exact same way. And almost as though that were a transition that I had to grow to, a change of the way of I see it, of you have to make this decision
yeah.
to no, you get to make the decision that Christ is letting me co-create my plan, or the Father is letting me co-create my life path with him.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll start veering off and he'll push me back up like, no, that's a bad decision. You need to get back in this direction. But other than that, you get to make a lot of these choices.
Hmm.
And I love that idea of figuring out, okay, I get to write a little bit because I agree with you. It is easier, and sometimes we can even feel more committed to say, look, just tell me what to do, and then
Hmm.
I will provide the courage to do it.
Yeah.
And he responds with, the courage that I'm asking you to have is to make the decision and to
Hmm.
make the call. I've given you all the tools that you need. I've given you the information. Build the best life that you can think of, and then I'll come and make it better.
Yeah.
But you need to make that first call. That's the courage that I'm asking you to exercise.
Yeah. And it
Oh
does
man.
take courage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because my response to that is like, Heavenly Father, I'm an idiot. You want me to build my own life? Like that's not a good idea. That's not a good plan. Let's come up with a better plan than that.
Yeah. Please. Yep. So it's incredible. I feel like that's how my journey has been through this life for sure.